You're right, boys, so welcome to a new video. Now today we're doing a fairly big mod. We are doing a power steering relocation kit. I've got my friend coming to help me, Benji. He gave me a hand washing my car a few weeks ago. He's also got the kit. If we've got time, we might be doing his as well. I think he might be filming it himself. I'm not entirely sure just yet, but he might be doing his, but he's got work at 4 o'clock and it's now about 12 o'clock. So we don't know if we're gonna have enough time because we're doing mine first. But we're gonna jack the car up, get everything ready. He should be arriving any second now. So we'll jack the car up and we'll get to it. Right then, so to do this relocation kit, these are probably the tools that you're going to need. I've got a Halford's advanced socket set, I've got a drill, I've got a pair of mole grips, I've got the whole set of the relocation kit, and I've got a big bottle as well. That's going to help for draining the original fluid, because what I'm going to plan on doing is drain out all of the fluid from this reservoir, because it literally is black because it just gets cooked, as this is the hose that goes straight over the engine, and I don't know if you can see in there, but it's literally black inside. So that is really not good for the pump. At the moment it sounds like my pump kind of struggles as I like full lock the steering wheel. So what we're going to do, we're going to relocate it, and I think it goes about here behind the battery. So you need to drill into the battery box, mount it onto the side of the battery here, and then you've got the longer hoses which allow for further cooling, and it doesn't actually go directly over the engine as well, so it keeps it cooler. You've got longer hoses like return hoses, so it's got a longer time to cool down. But we're literally all ready now. My mate should be literally arriving any second now, so we're just going to sit here and wait, and I'll pick up the camera when he arrives. Right, so first of all it is just a case of taking this hose off, draining out the old fluid, and we're going to be topping it up with a fresh fluid as we're going along, just to flush out all of the crap fluid. That is black. So I just got my mate steering the wheel left and right with the ignition on, just pumping out all of the old fluid, and I'm just topping it up at the same time. Now it's starting to come out a little bit clearer. Keep going a little bit more. That'll do. That's cool. Right, so I've now fully flushed the system, so it's started to come out all pink out of this return hose. Now it's taken off the reservoir. I think there's just a bolt down here and a bolt on the side down here and just underneath there as well. So I'll take that off now. Alright, so now this relocation, the reservoir should just pop off. And then it pisses everywhere. Right, so I've just popped off the reservoir, and this is where the adapter needs to be bolted onto, so that'll be the next process. So here's the adapter that just needs to slot into here. I've got 2 screws which just bolt it into there. I've got a washer on the back there, so it just fits on there. I've got the 2 screws. Right, so there's the adapter all bolted in nice and tight. It was a bit of a nightmare. Probably could take the headlight out, make it a bit easier, but we managed to do it just like this. So that's now bolted up tightly. Now I think what we're going to do is take the battery out and measure up where the reservoir for the relocation kit needs to go, drill out 2 holes, then bolt it to the battery cover. And you just find it there. Okay. Right, so I've just marked up on the battery cover where I need to drill, so I'm now going to take out the battery, going to get the headlight out for more access, and then we're going to drill the battery cover. Right, so there's the reservoir all bolted onto the battery. Got the 2 bolts holding it on there, and they're just tightened up by them nuts. But I'm going to slot this back into place now and carry on with the hoses. Right, so the reservoir is bolted onto the battery. Battery cover's back in, just left the battery out for now. Now we've got to take this hose out. We've got the thinner hose at the back in place, and then it'll be the thicker hose just to go onto the adapter down here. Run the big hose underneath the air intake, underneath here, I've taken the headlight out for more access, and then just under there, them 2 yellow caps, we'll take them off of the reservoir, and then they'll be all linked up to the res. Right, so this is the return hose, and it just needs to come off down here. There's a clamp down here which needs to be taken off, and then this hose needs to be connected to it down here. Hopefully loads of fluid don't come pissing out everywhere. Oh, there we go. Right, that's out. Right, so what I've decided I'm going to do, I'm going to run the smaller hose. You need to just pop it onto that hose at the back there, tighten that Jubilee up. I'm going to run it around the back here. I know the exhaust manifold will get fairly hot, but I'm just hoping with the longer hoses, obviously I'm going to feed it around here underneath the battery and air intake, and then up to the reservoir. But I'm hoping with these longer hoses that it's going to have a lot more time to cool down the fluid, and just because it's going over the exhaust manifold, that it won't get too hot. I've been following another YouTuber, J Mono, his tutorial on this. He's got this set up as well, going over the back, and he's had it for like a year and it's still perfectly fine. The fluid hasn't been cooked at all, so I think I'm just going to go along with that as well. So we're just now going to tighten up the Jubilee clips and get the small return hose sorted out first. Yeah, that's pretty tight. That ain't moving. Alright, so that Jubilee clip is done up tightly. That's all in place. Now I'm going to route this round, hide it a little bit, make it a bit neater, and then we'll go from there. Tighten this up while we're here. Make sure that's nice and tight, which it is. And now we'll sort out the big hose. Screw that on there nice and tight. Like that. That's real nice and tight now. So we've got both of these ends all clipped in properly. We've got the small return hose into the reservoir. Now all we need to do is the large hose as well. Right, so the big hose did actually need a little bit of trimming. I just cut that off. It's probably about 8 inches. Just so it fits on there nicely, because it was just too long. obviously the headlight's got to fit in here, and there just wouldn't have been enough room for the headlight. So now we're just going to put the Jubilee clip on here, put it onto the reservoir, tighten that up, and then we should be all good to start filling it back up again. Make sure that's on there nice and tight, which it is. That ain't coming off. Right, so everything is done up properly, all nice and tight. Both the hoses are connected to the reservoir. Now it's just a job of filling up the reservoir, turning on the engine for literally a second or two, keep refilling the reservoir as the pump takes in all the fluid, turning the wheel left and right, left and right, left and right, keep an eye on the fluid, make sure you keep it topped up so it doesn't run dry, and that's pretty much it. So we're now going to fill the reservoir up to max, turn the car on for literally 2 seconds, and then check the level again.
Don't spill it.
Yeah, exactly. Fluid looks so nice. Right, so I've just filled it up and it's tiniest bit over the max line, but that should be alright. Now literally going to start the car for 2 seconds and then check the level again afterwards. Definitely don't want it to fucking... Shut up, mate. It's not that easy.
Just line it up and get it in the hole, mate.
Repeat the process again.
It's on min. It's on minimum.
Trying to get your little famous car in it, mate. Little fame boy.
Mate, you're the one with the channel, not me.
Right then boys, so the power steering relocation kit is all complete. My mate Benji's just gone home. We're hopefully going to do his kit tomorrow, but I'll probably just upload my kit that we done. You don't really need to see 2 lots, do you? But mine's now all complete. Just took it for a little drive, just around the block. The steering feels a little bit lighter, which is nicer. It feels a lot more responsive, which is brilliant. And like in full lock, it doesn't have the weird kind of struggling noise. I've just been keeping an eye on the level of the fluid. It did drop the tiniest amount, but I filled it a little bit over max by accident, but now it's literally sitting on the max line. So after a few drives, maybe tomorrow, I'll have another look at it, make sure it hasn't dropped at all. I doubt it will, because it hardly dropped at all, and we were turning the wheel left right for ages, just to make sure it didn't drop. But after the little drive, it did drop by literally only about 1 millimetre or 2. So I will just keep an eye on that over the next few days, make sure it doesn't drop at all. But yeah, as I said, it's just sitting at the maximum line now. But all the hoses are perfectly in place. I've used a cable tie just to hold the smaller hose up at the top of the engine bay. I'll show you that in a minute. But I'm really happy with how it went. It wasn't too difficult. It just did take a little while because we had a few like hiccups and things like that. Just like difficult clamps to take off, and just make sure we were doing it right. We took it nice and slow just so we wasn't rushing it, and we just had no pressure, so I just wanted to get it done properly. But yeah, it's all complete now, and I'll just go and show you quickly as well. So yeah, here is the bigger hose with the adapter on there. That runs all the way down here, down there underneath the air intake, round there, and slots into the reservoir. And then the smaller, I think it's the return hose. That's from down the back there. I don't know if you can see it too well. Let me just focus it. It's just down there. And then it runs all the way at the back. This is where I cable tied it, just so it stays up here. So it's not too close to the manifold down there, the exhaust manifold. And then it just runs under here, exactly the same as the large pipe, just underneath the air intake, and slots into the reservoir there. But as I said, it's literally just on the maximum line. I don't know how well you can see that down there, but yeah, it's just literally the tiniest amount over the maximum line. But yeah, I've taken it for a little drive and it seems good. So yeah, seems like we've done a good job.